Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news update show. And a lot. First line in, I really can't speak, but there's a lot to talk about today. There's actually a lot of news. I think for the last couple of days it's been like the Jong story, repeated multiple times, but using different words, and then the odd update here and there. But today we're getting stories on Neves, JURRIEN and Timber, Antony, Frenkie de Jong, other options, Ten Hag's plan to incorporate other Manchester United players, Pau Torres, other targets, CDM, the whole lot is coming out. And today's video, I'm going to talk about Fabrizio Romano, because Fabrizio Romano went on the United Stand YouTube channel today. I'd highly recommend watching that video, and I've got a few of the main points that he brought up on that video that I want to talk about in today's video about transfers, Timber and Frenkie de Jong mostly, and talking about United's plan. And there's also reports that United won't go for a striker now, and then the contradicting reports that we will go for a striker. But I think Romano said a lot of it depends on Martial and if he stays and if he goes. And, Fabrizio Romano spoke quite a lot about United's transfer plan and United's stance. So we're going to get into that. We've also got some more updates on De Jong. It's coming out by the Mirror, Disco Mirror, so one of the better ones from the Mirror, saying that, personal terms for De Jong will be about 250k a week, and De Jong will not reject the contract offer from Manchester United. Apparently, we're set to offer De Jong a contract. More updates on Antony and all of that. Ryan Gravenberch did reveal Ten Hag wanted him, but he did choose Bayern Munich. More positive updates on Timber. United is still in for JURRIEN Timber despite going quiet. And who is Ten Hag's new winger? If we don't get Antony, Ten Hag's looking at Pelestri, Ahmad, Rashford. What's Ten Hag's plan for them? And it's come out that Ten Hag wants to incorporate some of the players that maybe underperformed last season that he thinks he can get the best out of. But before I get into the news and before I get into the De Jong news and the transfer news, hoovering in the background. I don't know if you can hear this. There's a report coming out about Mason Greenwood. I don't want to give it much attention, so I've not put it in the thumbnail or the video or description or tags or anything. But there's a report that came out yesterday that went trending that Mason Greenwood was found not guilty and that he returned to Manchester United training and he will return to Man United. That report is false. Nothing has changed on Mason Greenwood. When there is an update on Mason Greenwood, there will probably be a club statement or a very reliable British journalist like Simon Stone, Laurie Wetwell, David Ornstein will come out and tell us if something's happened with Mason Greenwood. With Mason Greenwood, he is still on bail. He is still being investigated. Now, his hearing is meant to be mid-June. We are in mid-June. So I think something's going to happen in the next week. We're going to have an idea of what's going on the next week. But that bail could be extended again for another month. They're investigating him. Nothing has changed. He's still on bail. If he's not coming back, if he is coming back, I will do a video on it. He's not. Nothing's changed. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, free Greenwood." No, that's not. Seriously, if you're sitting there going free Greenwood, blah blah blah, stop it, stop being pathetic. Some things go beyond football. Yes, we need a young striker. Yes, we need someone to play on the right. Yes, Mason Greenwood is a big loss, but this goes beyond football. We do not want someone that has done things that he's been accused of doing in this squad. We don't. Okay, innocent till proven guilty. I know all of that, but we've all seen the video recordings. It's difficult to even if he's found not guilty, it's difficult to process it. You know what? Things go beyond football. There's a victim in this. This is a major thing. So everyone, if you're tweeting, bring back Mason Greenwood, just mature a little bit. And remember, this goes beyond football, and there's no updates in the Greenwood case. I just wanted to get into that and get out of the way because that is just going on everywhere as well. But we're going to talk about United transfers. Report coming out that Erik Ten Hag will be backed, which is a very positive report and all of that. But please smash that like button. Please subscribe down below if you're new, and please share the video as well. Gravenberch turned us down because he wants Bayern. I would have loved him at United, but he did want Bayern. We also got turned down by Adeyemi because he wanted Dortmund. But we're getting turned down by bloody everyone, aren't we, at the moment? If we don't get Frenkie de Jong, I actually think I'll cry. I'm so frustrated, Liverpool and City, two best teams in the world, have signed Nunes and Haaland, two of the best young strikers in the world, and are getting better and better and better. And, teams like Arsenal and United are just finished because our owners do not have the same ambition as their owners, and it's really, really frustrating. But let's go talk about Fabrizio Romano. So Fabrizio Romano went on the United Stand YouTube channel. Highly recommend checking it out. And Fabrizio Romano did say that it's important to clarify that Man United are not going to spend crazy money this transfer window. He said that United are going to spend good money, but something not mad or crazy. And I think what he means by that is basically in the past we spent crazy money on stupid signings. We spent 150 million on Wan-Bissaka, Dan James, and Harry Maguire, like absolutely just abysmal. And apparently United, this transfer window, well, we need to spend money, and I want us to spend crazy money. I think United are trying to be smart. They don't want to overpay. They don't want to be taken for mugs, which is annoying and in some senses, because you think 70 million for Frenkie de Jong, it's not overpaying. Bish, bash, bosh, get it done. But in other senses, you know, maybe that's why we didn't pay 100 million euros for Darwin Núñez, because it's way too much. I, again, was not the biggest fan of Darwin Núñez. I said, as soon as he was quoted over 50 million, I thought we cannot spend that much on a striker when we need two midfielders. And, you know, I think it was the right decision not to get Darwin Núñez, but I think it's the fact that you've lost a player that we're in for to Liverpool, our rivals, but because Liverpool are willing to pay more than us. It says it all about the ambition of Liverpool versus the ambition of us. But Romano's saying that United is not going to spend crazy money, but they want to spend good money. They want to spend money on the right kind of players. And I've always said, you know, we've brought a lot of the wrong kind of players in. You know, I think, you know, this window is about getting the players that we want, players that Ten Hag wants. You know, 2 transfer windows ago, we didn't sign a CDM when we spent 90 million on Pellistri, Ahmad and Donny van der Beek for them all to go on loan 2 years later. I think all 3 will probably be involved next season. I think one will go on loan, one of the wingers. But, you know, United have spent silly money in transfer windows to try and, I don't know, please fans, and it's just like spend wisely, and I think that's what he's suggesting. But Fabrizio Romano did talk about Frenkie de Jong. He did give us an update on Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United as well, and he said that Manchester United's priority is Frenkie de Jong. It is a move for Frenkie de Jong. He also said a move for a defensive midfielder will depend on the price and conditions. So Romano saying our priority is Frenkie de Jong, and a move for a CDM will depend on the price and conditions of CDM. So we obviously know from Laurie Whitwell said a month ago, or probably less than a month ago, about 2-3 weeks ago, Laurie Whitwell said de Jong is our number 1 priority, but Eric Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. And Fabrizio Romano again has sort of said, similar to what Laurie Whitwell said, that we are prioritising Frenkie de Jong and we will look at other midfielders to partner Frenkie de Jong depending on the price and condition of those midfielders. Now, Lema and Sangare are going to be under £30 million. So I think if we don't sign a CDM to partner Frenkie de Jong, I think it's United board being lazy. There are good value signings out there to partner Frenkie de Jong and Lema and Sangare, and I think United can do them. I think if we don't do it, it's either because we spend a lot of money elsewhere, and maybe that's okay to an extent, but I do still think 2 midfielders is the priority, or it's because we're being lazy and we're thinking if we sign Frenkie de Jong, if we sign Timber, and if we sign Antony, that's enough. That's not enough. We need at least 4 signings. We do 3 every winter. We need at least 4 signings. We need 2 midfielders, a defender and an attacker, and I think even a fullback, because they're integral to the way Ten Hag plays. But I think if you get Timber, it can be a pass. And for me, Frenkie de Jong's my number 1 priority. Timber's my 2nd priority. Then a partner for Frenkie de Jong's my 3rd priority. Then you go for the attack. And then if you've got any money left, I would look at a Malacia and then get rid of Telles. I know we want to get rid of Wan-Bissaka and we're struggling with that, but we have to wait and see what happens. Fabrizio Romano also said that Frenkie de Jong has been quiet on his future and he is relaxed. He is waiting to understand what's going to happen with Barcelona. Barca won 85 million euros, which is 72 million pounds for de Jong this summer. United willing to pay about 60, says Romano. He didn't say United willing to pay about 60, but I know we bidded around 60, says Romano. So we know the price was 68 million pounds. Romano's now pushed the price up to 72 million pounds. So Barcelona seem to be hiring that asking price for Frenkie de Jong. And Romano did say this, and this is interesting. This is an interesting update that I think you guys need to keep aware of. Fabrizio Romano said today, Barcelona will have an internal meeting this week to understand how to move forward in the transfer market. He said this is one of the reasons why the deal for Frenkie de Jong is not as advanced. So we're all thinking that the deal for Frenkie de Jong is not as advanced because United are stalling on money, and a lot of reports are saying that there's a little bit disagreement in the fee for Frenkie de Jong. But Romano is suggesting that, you know, because Barcelona still haven't maybe sorted out their transfer plan, which is a weird report from Romano. I'm going to believe Romano and all of that, but I think with this report, it's a bit, I don't know how to describe this, but a bit of a valuation gap. You know, I think the reason we haven't got de Jong is because we are trying to underpay for de Jong, and Barcelona want a bit of money for de Jong, and United don't want to get mugged off. But Romano is saying a lot of it could be because part of it could be because Barcelona haven't really made up their mind about who they're going to buy in this transfer window, which I think is weird because we've had other really reliable journalists saying Barcelona have told de Jong he's leaving, told de Jong he's not staying. Xavi's told de Jong he's leaving, he's not staying. De Jong will leave Barcelona. All these reliable journalists said de Jong's going to leave Barcelona and United in for him. And the difference between United and Barcelona is they can't agree on a fee. But Romano is saying a little bit of it has to do with maybe Barcelona. And, you know, Barcelona is still holding more meetings over what they're going to do with de Jong, which is, it's a bit weird. It's, you know, Romano said it, and Romano normally is pretty right with what he says, but I still think the main reason we haven't got de Jong is because we're faffing around trying to save a little bit of money. You know what Man United are like in the transfer window. You just can't trust Manchester United, and I wouldn't put it past United if they were absolutely faffing about. Guys, please do smash that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more. We're also 5 subscribers away from 38.3k. So if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Let's see if we can hit 38.3k. That'd be crazy as well. I'm sorry if the stream's a little bit laggy. Is the stream quality all right? Have Arsenal put in a bid for Osimhen? Any reliable sources on that as well? United's owners' priority is only to earn money. They don't give a damn about winning trophies. I think you're absolutely correct with that. You're absolutely correct. And hi, Alice. Any updates about striker options, Belotti or Scamacca? Look, we've been linked to Belotti or Scamacca, but we're not in for them. This is the situation that I'm aware of for United and strikers. Is the striker we prioritised was Darwin Núñez. The striker Ten Hag wanted was Darwin Núñez. Now, Ten Hag is reportedly a little bit upset, a little bit annoyed that we've missed out on Darwin Núñez, and now the attacking priority is Antony. It was said that if Ten Hag couldn't get a striker, aka Darwin Núñez, he would focus more on a left-footed right winger. I know we've also been looking at Nkunku. I know Richarlison was an option, but I think he is Spurs-bound. I think now we've missed out on Darwin Núñez. I think that Antony seems to be the priority. He does want a left-footed right winger. He does want an attacker, and his striker was Núñez. We don't really have a striking option behind Núñez. I said this before, if we don't get Núñez, who are we going to get? Because Núñez is the only striker that we've been strongly linked with, and we've missed out on Núñez. Well, there have been Scamacca links, Belotti links. We're not actively in for them. No reliable sources said we're in for them, whereas reliable sources have said we're in for Antony. So, although Antony's not a striker, there's also reports coming out that United don't view strikers as a priority and they view midfield as a bigger priority, which is true, but a striker is still needed, There's also reports saying that, it could depend on Martial and that United are willing to keep Martial as a Ronaldo backup for a season and get a right winger, which I'm okay with as long as Martial wants to stay, and I don't think Martial wants to stay and be a backup. But I've always said this about Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is an incredible player, a brilliant player, but he is 37. He will be turning 38 next season. Eric Ten Hag plays a high-pressing game. For Cristiano Ronaldo, for me, he starts every Premier League game. You do not play him in the cup games. Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, no. For me, Ronaldo plays once a week, every weekend in the Premier League. That's what Ronaldo needs to be doing. But once Ronaldo starts playing twice a week, he gets tired and his performances drop off. We saw it when Cavani, Greenwood and Martial had all fucked off at one point. And we had to play Ronaldo every single game. And he dropped off and he went for a period where he didn't score. Ronaldo got a little bit of a rest. He came back fresh. What did he do? Score a hat-trick versus Spurs. What did he do? Score a hat-trick versus Norwich. That's what Cristiano Ronaldo does when he plays once a week. And I've always said, yes, we have Cristiano Ronaldo, and I've always thought we shouldn't be spending more than 50 million on a striker. I said we need a midfield more than anything. We need two midfielders more than anything. I always said Darwin Núñez too expensive. I wouldn't spend more than £50 million on a striker because they will be on the bench for the majority of Premier League games behind Cristiano Ronaldo. I've always said that. But we still need a striker because Ronaldo cannot play week in, week out. He's 38. He doesn't have the energy for that. So we need maybe a young up-and-coming striker that will happily play in the Europa League and Cup games and be a decent backup to Ronaldo. Or maybe we need to buy an attacker that can play left wing, striker, right wing, and someone that's really versatile across the front three and can play in all positions. And that's why I said Nkunku, because of his versatility. He's not a striker, but he can play as a second striker. But at the end of the day, as long as we get who Ten Hag wants, I'm happy. But I think now Darwin Núñez is gone, I kind of expect us to get a winger, really, and maybe keep Martial. I'm not sure. I don't want to see Rashford at striker, but, we will have to really wait and see what Ten Hag does and all of that. City are not in for De Jong at all. Hopefully that is the case. Rob said United have prepared a new bid for De Jong and are looking at close to 75 million euros plus 10 million add-ons. Personal terms, 250k a week. Should be in tomorrow, but don't quote it. The numbers are solid. Yeah, I think there's a report that came out from the Mirror about United putting in a second bid for Frenkie de Jong. And now we do know from Fabrizio Romano that Barcelona want 85 million euros, and that if United pay 75 million euros and 10 million add-ons, that's expected to be accepted. And we have offered Frenkie de Jong apparently a 250k a week contract. So Frenkie de Jong to Man United, I think it's really going to step up in the next few days. I think there's going to be a big update on it in the next few days. Definitely, I think if United do put in a bid tomorrow and we get personal terms agreed, then we could get a here we go this week. But I said last week, we could get here we go this week. I said the week before we could get here we go this week, and it's dragging out. And we're 5 weeks into the De Jong deal. We just need to get that De Jong deal done. We need to stop stalling on it. We need to stop messing around. We're 5 weeks into it, not done anything. It's a little bit frustrating. Talking of players we've been linked to, talking of Antony, I was obviously talking about strikers. And I said, look, Darwin Núñez is gone. Since Darwin Núñez has gone to Liverpool, the focus has seemed to be on Antony. Now, Fabrizio Romano spoke about Antony, And he said that Manchester United have genuine interest in Antony, and of course Erik ten Hag knows him well, but there's still no bid, just internal discussions going on, said Romano. So again, Fabrizio Romano confirming that United are generally interested in Antony and that Erik ten Hag knows him. And I think, now we've lost out on Darwin Núñez. I think Antony is that priority attacker that we get. There's a lot of questions is, would Antony and Sancho be the right wingers for Manchester United? But, if that's who ten Hag views as the right wingers, that's who he views. It was also said from Fabrizio Romano on the United Stand YouTube channel. He also went on to say on there that Manchester United are exploring the possibility of signing Antony. He has been discussed internally and is a name ten Hag has always considered, but United have not put in a bid. But the player agents have been in Europe in the past month meeting with many clubs. So Antony's agents have been meeting with many clubs, one of which Manchester United discussing a possible deal, which again was confirmed by the Don, Fabrizio Romano as well. So I'm going to ask you guys now, actually. I'm going to do a poll. You guys like it when I do a poll. Let's do a poll. So, there's reports coming out that United are no longer prioritising a striker after losing out on Darwin Núñez and will go for a left-footed forward. Oh, my God, I've clicked on the freaking ad of my video. Going to get in trouble now. Block. But I'm going to do a poll, okay? And what I'm going to do on that poll is I'm going to ask you guys, would you rather have a striker or a right winger at Manchester United? So what is a bigger priority? I keep clicking on my own striker, right wing. Sorry if it's going to lag for a second, but I'm just wondering what you see as a bigger priority. I'm hoping the poll will come up now. There we go, end poll. But sorry about the lag there, but what is a bigger priority at Man United, a striker or a right winger? Now, I do think we need a right winger, but for me, a striker is a bigger priority. I know we have Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's only here for 1 year. If he gets injured, we are screwed. He cannot play every single game, Cristiano Ronaldo. For me, a striker is the priority that Manchester United need. Now, the thing is, what I think we do need a right winger. But we've got Palestri, we've got Amad Diallo, and we've also got Garnacho coming through. We've got Alanga that can play there. They can all do a job for a season. Rashford can play there. If Rashford finds form, he can do a job there. Sancho can even play there. Bruno could even do a job there and so could Donny if worse comes to worse. Same with Mesbury. United have gone so many years without a right winger that you think, fucking hell, we need one. And we brought Sancho to be a right winger and he wasn't. We do definitely need a right winger, but we have so many players that can do a job at right wing, whereas Ronaldo is the only player we really have that can do a job at striker. Rashford, I'm sorry, I'd rather have Rashford on the right wing than a striker. He's not a striker. Martial can do a job at striker, but he doesn't want to be here. And if Martial doesn't want to be here, then it's just like, we don't want to keep players at the club that don't want to be here because we don't want dressing room problems to repeat themselves all over again. So it's an interesting one, but I do think that we need a striker more than a right winger because, we've got Amad Diallo, who I think could thrive under ten Hag. There's Garnacho coming through. There's Alanga. There's the youth players, whether they're ready or not, I don't know. But I always look at Arteta and Arsenal's kind of rebuild. They could have played £70 million Pepe. Instead, he was choosing to play Emile Smith-Rowe, even Odegaard at times, Martinelli and Saka. And that worked out quite well for Arsenal. And I'm at the point where I think maybe we're best off getting a striker and then investing those funds into a young right winger. But let me know your thoughts as well. I would sell Rashford. He isn't creative enough as well. I want to talk about Marcus Rashford before I get into the next story. I've been saying this for a little bit. I think a lot of people in the fan base are kind of writing off players like Rashford and Bruno. Now, I can understand a little bit more why people are writing off Rashford because I think he had been our worst player this season and Rashford's been poor for like a year and a half, where Bruno Fernandes, I'd say, has only really been poor for about 6-7 months. I would say that. But I think, Rashford and Bruno, they've had poor seasons. They shouldn't be near the starting lineup with the way they were performing at the end of the season. But I think a lot of people in our fan base have sort of written Rashford and Bruno up. I see Bruno off. I see all these lineups for next season, like ideal Man United lineup, and Rashford and Bruno aren't in it. I understand Rashford not being in it, but, Bruno's just signed a new contract. Bruno's going to be heavily involved, and Bruno did carry us for 2 years. And I think a lot of Man United fans seem to be writing off Rashford and Bruno like that, going, they're done. Ten Hag is a new manager. He's a manager known for getting the best out of a lot of players. Look at Sebastian Haller before Ten Hag and look at him after Ten Hag. He did a good job. Look at Dusan Tadic under Ten Hag. Of course, it's the Eredivisie. Of course, it's in the league. Ten Hag's got a reputation of getting the best out of a lot of players. So I think, I think, we shouldn't be writing Bruno and Rashford off because, look, we can't sell Bruno and Rashford this summer. because we're already getting rid of a lot of other players. We have no squad left, and United, they're taking 5 weeks to get Frenkie de Jong. United at most are probably going to get 4 signings this summer. If you're selling Bruno, Rashford, and half the squad, you need then 10 signings. United won't be able to do 10 signings in the summer because 1, it's not FIFA, and 2, it's Manchester United. And I think, Marcus Rashford, for me, he can alternate with Sancho on the left wing and whoever's in form we play. But there's still a good player in Marcus Rashford. And I still believe Marcus Rashford is good enough to play for United when in form. The problem is he hasn't been in form for well over a year. He's getting very frustrating. And this season, he wasn't out of form. He was absolutely shit. He was useless. He got benched by Elanga. But I still know there's a top player in Marcus Rashford. And I'm still not overly worried about the situation. So I think a lot of people do write off Rashford and Bruno, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with them as well. Look, Rashford's been poor, but I think if there's a manager that's going to get the best out of Rashford, it will be Erik ten Hag as well. What do you think of João Felix? Alice as a replacement for CR7? I think he's a little bit overrated, but a decent player. But I don't know with João Felix. I've not seen him a lot to really cast an opinion on João Felix. And as Rob says, thank you very much, Rob, for the super chat. Like, sub, and share. Bye, Alison. Bottled water. Lol, bish, bash, bosh. Yes, please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe down below if you're new. Please do share this video as well. Really appreciate it with the super chat, Rob. We've got other news stories to get into. Fabrizio Romano did talk about Darwin Núñez, who is now Liverpool bound. And Romano said that Erik ten Hag had mentioned Darwin Núñez in meetings with the Manchester United board, but apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, Erik ten Hag is not that disappointed in missing out on Darwin Núñez because he knows he's spending 100 million euros on a package, and he would risk compromising other signings if he got Darwin Núñez. So apparently, you know what, Erik ten Hag did want Darwin Núñez. Once he realised he'd be 100 million euros, he was not that annoyed that the club missed out on Darwin Núñez, because he knows that if you get Darwin Núñez, you're not going to be able to get signings elsewhere. Fabrizio Romano also said that Man United did try and sign Darwin Núñez, and they were still in contact with his agent until Friday, but they considered him a 70 million euro target and not a 100 million euro target. And to be fair, I respect that. I think it's embarrassing losing a target to our rivals, but maybe ten Hag thinks like we do. Maybe ten Hag was thinking like we do. I want Darwin Núñez, but I'm not paying more than £55 million for Darwin Núñez. I'm going to have to let him go because otherwise, I need midfielders, defenders just as much as I need Darwin Núñez, which I think it seems to be the situation with ten Hag and Darwin Núñez. It's also come out from Fabrizio Romano today that he tweeted that Manchester United are one of the 2 clubs leading the race for Derby County's Malcolm Abowie, with the 18-year-old expected to make a move to the Premier League. So Man United are keeping an eye on a young Premier League striker. If there's any major updates on that, I will let you know. And Romano then went back onto United's stand today and spoke about Jurrien Timber. Now, the Jurrien Timber story's gone quiet since he's gone on international duty, but Jurrien Timber is still ten Hag's #1 defensive target, and Jurrien Timber is still a transfer target for Manchester United. And Fabrizio Romano said that Timber is waiting to see what happens between Manchester United and Ajax, and negotiations are in final stages. That's what Romano said on the United stand. I think that's a positive thing. Timber's waiting to see what happens between Man United and Ajax, but negotiations aren't in the final stages. That is a good thing, because we know from reports and other journalists that there has been a verbal agreement between Timber and United for Timber to join United. And I think Timber's future is in, A, can ten Hag convince Timber to come, which I think is likely. If ten Hag can convince de Jong to come, I think he can convince Timber to come. But B, it's negotiations between United and Ajax. And I'm not sure what United are doing with the Timber deal. Why we're dragging out negotiations? We have a good relationship with Ajax. Why don't we hurry up, put a bid in and get Timber done? Because it seems to be a United-Ajax problem than a United-Timber problem. So I do wonder what we're doing with Timber, or is it because we're waiting to get that de Jong deal done? And if we are waiting to get that de Jong deal done, can we hurry up and get it the fuck done? Because we seem to be putting all our eggs in de Jong's basket, where we're just not doing anything else on other targets. And I think we're missing out on a lot of key players that we could sign because we're faffing around on Frenkie de Jong. And it's been 5 weeks for de Jong. It's frustrating because Liverpool are in for Núñez for 4 days, and Núñez is at Liverpool, and we're still mucking about, faffing around on Frenkie de Jong. But as Romano said, Timber's waiting to see what happens. Romano also did say that Ajax do want 45 million euros for Jurrien Timber, which is about 40 million pounds. And Pau Torres' release clause is around 55 million euros, but Villarreal could be open to negotiate for something less. I reckon, so Romano again has said United are in for Jurrien Timber and Pau Torres. Fabrizio Romano said that. I reckon Jurrien Timber is the #1 transfer target. It's Erik ten Hag's #1 transfer target. But knowing Manchester United, will go for whoever's the cheapest. Whoever we can get cheaper, Timber or Pau Torres, is who United will go for. But I think, there is still stuff going on with Jurrien Timber to Manchester United. It's still a likely deal. It's just gone a bit quiet. And maybe that's because we're focusing on de Jong. I don't know, but I think once De Jong is done, the Timber news will heat up. And the question is, when is De Jong done? When will it be done? Because it needs to be done soon. I think we're all kind of losing the will to live with the De Jong deal. I'm kind of fed up of talking about it as well. If he was swapped to Nzebe, Timber plus money, maybe, but Nzebe hasn't been very good on loan, so I think Ajax would be reluctant to accept. And Fabrizio Romano basically said what every United outlet's saying, nothing new. But there is stuff that's new, but nothing that's major new. And De Jong says asked this week, 85% sure of it. And I'm with you there, Rob. I still think we'll get De Jong. I'm still confident United will get De Jong. But, the longer and longer it goes on, the more fed up I actually get with De Jong to United. If we don't get De Jong, our option is Ruben Neves. And Fabrizio Romano did speak about Ruben Neves today. And Romano did say that Ruben Neves is on Manchester United's list. And he has always been appreciated, but it depends on the fee. Wolves want 100 million euros, and Man United are not prepared to pay that. Fair enough. Wolves, Ruben Neves is not worth more than 50 million pounds, so fuck off. Like, honestly, with Ruben Neves, with Darwin Núñez, I'm happy that we don't sign them if we're going to be spending over 50 million on those kind of players, because United shouldn't be spending more than 50 million on anyone this window apart from Frenkie de Jong, because he is the #1 priority target. The only player we can spend more than 50 million pounds on is a midfielder that's going to start week in, week out. That is Erik ten Hag's #1 target, and that's Frenkie de Jong as well. Romano did talk about defenders, though. Romano did say this about Pau Torres to United, which is really interesting. Fabrizio Romano said that he sees Pau Torres playing in the Premier League next season because he wants the move and he has good chances of a move. Romano said Timber is waiting for Manchester United to update him on the situation with Ajax, but both players would be happy to join United. So this is a massive story from Fabrizio Romano, because only last week it was coming out that Timber was reluctant to join because he wasn't sure if he was going to be playing and he wants a World Cup space. Romano said that Timber is happy to join United, and it seems what's going on between Timber and United is that Man United are in negotiations with Ajax over a deal for Timber. Now, United are not good at negotiating, despite Timber's good price, despite Timber being a target and all of that. And despite, Timber being relatively cheap, United are still in negotiations for JURRIEN Timber. I think if we fail to get JURRIEN Timber, we'll go into the negotiations for Pau Torres. But Timber is still the priority. But Romano did say Timber and Pau Torres would both be open to joining Manchester United, which I definitely see as a positive. We're 150 likes away from 300 likes, guys. We've got over 300 people watching. So if you've not hit that like button, please do. And of course, guys, subscribe down below if you're new. I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. So please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you are already not subscribed. As I said, it will mean a lot to me as well. Lots and lots of news to get into as well. Is this United's way of getting business done? United just don't seem to be getting any business done, but I think the first signing has to be this week. If we don't have a signing by this time next week, I think it's a joke. I think something has to happen in the next 7 days. In 2 weeks today, they're all back on for pre-season. They're all back for pre-season 2 weeks today. There's got to be at least... Ten Hag wanted 3 players minimum back for pre-season. But if there's not 1 player back in 2 weeks of pre-season, that is a disgrace. 2 weeks till pre-season. So United have to get business done in the next 2 weeks, or that's just embarrassing. Your new manager, you promised you backed him and you didn't deliver him something for pre-season. Something's going to happen soon. I guarantee you that. So do make sure you're subscribed. Talking of Frenkie de Jong, and this is the big story that's come out from Frenkie de Jong, and this has come out from Disco Mirror. Yes, the Mirror do take it with a pinch of salt, but one of the better journalists from the Mirror has said that Manchester United are expected to make an improved second bid for Frenkie de Jong, but it's likely to fall short of Barcelona's £70 million valuation, and United are determined not to be forced to overpay. The Mirror did say that Frenkie de Jong knows how keen Barcelona are to offload him, and he's now got his head around leaving the new camp, and personal terms of around 250k a week will not be an issue. So the Mirror has said that United are in for Frenkie de Jong. They will put in a second bid, but it could be a little bit lower than Barcelona's asking price. We'll have to wait and see. But they also said that personal terms will not be an issue. We're going to offer him a contract of 250k a week, blah, 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 blah. We're getting more and more reports from multiple journalists that personal terms will not be an issue between United and de Jong, and that de Jong is now open to joining, and Ten Hag is convinced Frenkie de Jong to join. We're also getting reports of United putting in a second bid. I think this is the week for de Jong. I do think this is the week that de Jong will happen, but I did say that last week, so do not count on me, but I feel like something has to happen with de Jong this week. If we keep going on about de Jong, and in a few weeks' time, I'm absolutely going to lose it. I'm absolutely fed up with the de Jong situation as well. The Manchester Evening News also spoke about Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United, and Tyrone Marshall of the Manchester Evening News did say that Manchester United have open talks with Barcelona to try and still move for Frenkie de Jong, but at the moment the two clubs are some way apart in their evaluation. That's come out from Tyrone Marshall. It's also been said that football director John Murta is holding talks with Barcelona counterparts, and Manchester United are continuing to keep communication open with midfield targets. So again, more reports that we're working on the de Jong deal, but again, we don't want to overpay. I think the situation with Frenkie de Jong to Man United is very, very simple. Barcelona want a bit more money from us than we're willing to pay. United are faffing on it because United want to save money. Liverpool went and spent 100 million on Darwin Núñez, which is way too much for Darwin Núñez. Yeah, and Liverpool came second last year, nearly won the quadruple. Okay, Liverpool are miles better than us, and they spent 100 million euros on an overpriced striker. If Liverpool can spend 100 million euros on an overpriced striker, we can spend 80 million euros on Frenkie de Jong. That's one of the best midfielders of all time. It's in a position that we desperately need to buy, and also we came sixth last season. It jogs my mind, honestly. It's also said that Manchester United are unable to offer de Jong Champions League football, but de Jong is still open to joining United. That is what the Man United Evening News have said, and that apparently Ten Hag's played a big part in convincing de Jong to come to United. And it's also come out from eSport 3 that Frenkie de Jong is getting closer to Manchester United. And do you know, honestly, you guys want to know how fed up I am of Frenkie de Jong is getting closer to United? Over the last 2 weeks, Frenkie de Jong is accelerating. Frenkie de Jong to United is getting closer. The deal for Frenkie de Jong is moving faster. It all means the same thing. If you've got no updates on Frenkie de Jong, do not say anything. There's no point saying Frenkie de Jong is getting closer. We know that. Every second that goes by, we're closer to us signing a player. I'm so fed up with this club. OMG, get someone signed to David Lee. I absolutely agree. I mean, the fact that we're just going on and on and on, taking our time, it's doing my head, and I'm sure it's doing your head in as well. That is what Manchester United do. They take their time. They stall deals. We actually just need de Jong. Other positions still fine. Maybe Ten Hag could work and develop current players in the team. Look, this Man United squad came second last year. Okay, yes, it was vibes. Yeah, we didn't play as a team last year, but this Man United squad came second last year. This Man United squad is not as bad as it was playing last year. If that Man United squad had played for Ragnick, if that dressing room had sorted themselves out, we would have got top four. We don't have that bad of a team despite recent performances, and I will 100% stick by that. The reason Manchester United have dropped off so much is because of dressing room issues, because some of the players aren't playing and working hard. And I think, I think we were only one midfielder away from getting top four. I think if we get two midfielders, that's guaranteed top four. I don't think we need multiple signings to really, take us into top four, because I think a lot of our players are better than they've been playing this season. But what I will say is we do need a lot of signings. At the end of the day, it's a new manager. It doesn't matter for me the fact that, we've got multiple players that underperformed last season, and maybe if we just add Frenkie de Jong, we can get top four. That doesn't matter, because if Ten Hag gets the best out of our underperforming players, we still have a good side. But at the end of the day, they were underperforming players, and a lot of them had attitude problems. And at the end of the day, this is a rebuild. This is a new manager. This is his first summer. He wants 5 signings. You need to deliver 5 signings. A rebuild like this, you should be delivering 5 signings. 3 signings, not good enough. 4 signings are just about let them off, but it should be 5 signings, ideally 6. And the fact is that we haven't signed anyone yet. It looks like it's going to be 3 signings. And yes, you can say you've got Rashford, you've got Bruno. If you get the best out of Rashford, you get the best out of Bruno. When we got the best out of Maguire and Luke Shaw and all of these players, we got top 4, we got second, we did. We did get second when we got the best out of all of these players. But Liverpool have improved, Man City have improved, Tottenham have got Conte and have improved, and Arsenal have improved. We can have the same squad, but if we don't add to it, we're not going to improve, okay? Whereas the teams around us will improve, and Newcastle are coming up. So, you can say, look, really, this, if Luke Shaw's in form, if Maguire's in form, if Rashford's in form, if Bruno's in form, you've got a good squad. Yeah, I wouldn't say good squad, but when they were in form, they play well. They got second, they got to Europa League final. Just, but you need maybe if all the players find form and you add a Frenkie de Jong, you just about scrape top 4. But that's not the target, scraping top 4. The target is rebuilding a team that will eventually be able to push for Premier League titles and be able to compete in the Champions League. And I think for me, you need at least 4 signings this summer to do that. You need a Frenkie de Jong, but you need a midfielder to partner Frenkie de Jong. Remember Paul Pogba? We spent nearly 100 million euros on Paul Pogba. And what do? We stuck Paul Pogba next to McTominay. No wonder Paul Pogba looked average. When Paul Pogba played in a midfield 3 of Matic, Herrera, Pogba looked like one of the best midfielders in the world. As soon as you stick Paul Pogba next to McTominay, he looks average. You sign Frenkie de Jong and you stick him next to McTominay, he ain't going to be the Frenkie de Jong you spent £68 million on. you know, because at the end of the day, you know, our left back Luke Shaw, if he's in top form, he's the top left back. You know, Bruno, our attacking midfielder, if he's in top form, he's the top attacking midfielder. But McTominay, when he's in top form, he isn't a top midfielder. Fred, when he's in top form, he's a decent player, he can do the job, he's not a top midfielder. You know, we don't have midfielders to find form. We don't have players that can play in the pivot to find form. And that's why we need two midfielders. We need Frenkie de Jong. We need a midfielder to partner Frenkie de Jong, because Ten Hag's plan is to build a team around Frenkie de Jong. And that's what Ten Hag wants to do. Laurie Whitwell said Ten Hag wants two midfielders. Midfielders the priority. Ten Hag's plan is to build a team around Frenkie de Jong. Fabrizio Romano said that United also do want a CDM on top of de Jong, but it will depend around the price. If Man United do not sign two midfielders this summer, it's because the board have not delivered Ten Hag what he wants. And that is the first summer. This is the first major transfer window of our rebuild. And imagine not giving our new manager what he wants. You know, obviously he can work with Rashford. If you get the best out of Rashford, there's a good player there. If you get the best out of Shaw, there's a good player there. If you get the best out of Bruno, there's a good player there. He can, you know, these players all underperformed last season. If he gets the best out of them, you know, even Sancho gets the best out of him, you know, we are going to improve, but you need that midfield. You know, there's not a midfield there to get the best out of. We've seen the best of Scott McTominay. It's not good enough. Scott McTominay played for Scotland in midfield and got dominated by two Irish midfielders. The only game that Scotland have won is the one that McTominay wasn't in the bloody midfield, because he's crap. You know, he's not good enough. And stick de Jong next to McTominay, you know, and there'd be no point buying the money, paying the money for de Jong. As well, Man United signing this window: Timber, de Jong, Basuma and Ndidi, Antony, and a right back. Look, for me, Timber can play centre back, so right back. I get Malacia as backup left back. I do not rate Tellez. I'd get Sangare to partner de Jong, if not Lamar, and then I would go and get an attacker. I would look for an Nkunku. I don't think I'm going to be able to get him, so I would look at an Antony. But United need a right. You can say United need a right wing. You can say United need a striker. At the end of the day, United need two midfielders. They need a centre back. They need an attacker, and then all the funds left can go in a full back. For me, we're only 22 likes away from 200 likes, so please do smash that like button. Do you think Martial will stay? It's going to be difficult to sell him because of his lack of form and wages, and I think he will probably stay because we can't seem to sell anyone, but I don't think he'll be happy with staying. But we will have to wait and see as well. I think we'll have an indication really in July if Martial's going to stay or go. Nothing major. We know Wan-Bissaka and Baye are set to leave before anyone else, and same with Dean Henderson. I think Wan-Bissaka, Baye and Dean Henderson, United are desperate to get rid of. I think United and Anthony Martial, there still hasn't really been a decision made. Rob's made a good point. You never know what Bruno's going to show up. I like Bruno Fernandes, but the problem with Bruno is you just don't know what Bruno's going to show up. You make a very good point. News on Antony to United. I do want to get into the Antony to Manchester United news, so make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe down below if you're new. It's come out from Rich Fay that United are keen to address their long-term issues with right wing this summer, and the right side of attack has been identified as a problem position for United, given the majority of their right wingers like to operate in an inverted role, cutting off the left flank. It was then said by the Times that Antony is one of the several transfer targets. The deal is not thought to be in an advanced stage, but they are focusing on signing a midfielder. So obviously we had reports breaking in from Brazil the other day about United's interest in January. We know that Antony's agents have come to England. They've met with Manchester United. We know we've had talks with Antony and all of that. Antony is a genuine Manchester United target. Man United are genuinely in for Antony of Ajax. Okay, and I think now we've lost out on Darwin Núñez. Antony's become more of a priority, but I think the deal with Antony is it could happen. The British journalists are reporting on Antony to United, which is a positive, which means there are positive updates if British journalists are reporting on it. But I think again, United is slow. 5 weeks on Frenkie de Jong. We could be sitting in 5 weeks, and Frenkie de Jong could be our only signing. You know, I don't know what United are going to do. Antony is in the plan. De Jong is in the plan. Timber is in the plan. Pau Torres is in the plan if we don't get Timber. That is the plan. We do also want another midfielder to partner Frenkie de Jong, but it depends on the price. That is in the plan, you know. But right now, if I'm going to be honest with you, we need 5 signings. And from what Fabrizio Romano is saying, the plan is 3. I think the plan is almost Antony, Timber and de Jong. And for me, if there are enough funds left, maybe they'll go for a midfield partner for de Jong. For me, that's not good enough. I know it's going to be difficult to spend lots because, you know, selling Wan-Bissaka, Baye and Dean Henderson will be harder done than said because of how many wages we give them. But, you know, we're in the transfer window. We're in mid-June. We normally have business done by now. And we've not sold anyone. And we've not brought anyone. And it's incredibly frustrating. You know, Baye is still here. Wan-Bissaka is still here. Ten Hag wants them gone. Ten Hag wants them got rid. Why are they still here? What are we doing with this? You know, United need to stop messing around. We need to stop being silly. Jong is exactly what we try and force Pogba to play deep the last 6 years. Honestly, I'm worried we're going to get De Jong and do what we did with Pogba to De Jong. If De Jong gets injured, we'll only have Fred, Scott, and Van der Beek. It's really bad. Exactly why we need 2 midfielders as well. And Danny Ings, our status has dropped dramatically. I'm not going to give the Danny Ings story any attention. If we are linked to Danny Ings, if we are linked to Danny Ings again, I will do a video on it. But we shouldn't be going for Danny Ings. It's, you know, Man City and Liverpool finishing first and second and getting Nunes and Haaland, and United finishing sixth and getting Danny Ings, and you wonder why we're so far behind them. We were like 30 odd points behind them this season. It's mad. We are forced to keep Anthony Martial. The Glazers keep taking money from the club, so they have to cut our budget. I mean, you're not wrong with that. You're not wrong with that at all. Well, honestly, unless we pay their wages, United will get next to nothing for Bayer, Wan-Bissaka and Henderson. And that's the problem, because you've had Woodward handing out bang average players ridiculous wages, that it's more difficult to sell players, which means it's actually making it harder for us to buy players as well. Glazers are laughing all the way to the bank. They don't care. You're right, Lee. They don't care. Smash your like if you Glazers out as well. Freaking hate the Glazers. Ryan Gravenberch was approached by Ten Hag when he chose Bayern Munich. He said that today. Shah Dunker said the arrival of a striker is the second priority after midfielder, sources saying United are not limiting their search for central forwards. And this is a decent journalist saying that. And was also said by the same journalist that Ten Hag moved to shut down suggestions that was a release clause in his contract to prevent him from taking too many of his former squad to Manchester United. It's understood there is a gentleman's agreement that Ten Hag will not take the gut of Ajax. This is the thing. The thing is, I think we want Antony and Timber, but I think we'll only get one of Antony and Timber, because Ajax have lost a lot of players. They've lost Gravenberch already. They've lost the manager. They've lost a lot of players. Ajax do not want to be selling to us. They've got a lot to do. So this is an interesting one as well. But United needs to be careful. What is going on with Timber? Are we going to prioritize Antony, and then are they not going to sell us Timber? Are we going to go for Pau Torres? I think this is an interesting one, but they did say a striker is priority after midfielder, which is interesting because it came out again from other journalists saying that a central striker is no longer a priority and it's unlikely. I've always said midfield's priority. Ten Hag knows midfield's priority. Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. Laurie Whitwell said it. Romano said it. Ten Hag wants 2 midfielders. Ten Hag also wants a centre back in Timber. That is his first choice, and Ten Hag wants an attacker. Whether that attacker is a striker or a left-footed right wing, we'll have to wait and see. Ideally, he wants both, but I think he's come to the realistic realization we can only afford one. Let's wait and see. But I want to talk about attackers and Ten Hag's plan for an attacker. And Facundo Pellistri has been looking good on international duty. I think we've given him the wrong loans, but he's a player that has some promise and looks good, and he can play on the right-hand side. And it's come from Richard Fay of the Manchester Evening News that Erik ten Hag is set to give Facundo Pellistri a chance to prove his worth at Manchester United in pre-season before making a decision on his immediate future through another loan next season is not being ruled out. It's also said that it's understood that Facundo Pellistri is eager to gain regular playing time next season, and he's acknowledged a loan move might help his bid to start for matches in the World Cup. Facundo Pellistri and Amad Diallo are players I want to see in pre-season. I want to see one of Pellistri and Amad Diallo here next season. I don't care who. I think Amad Diallo is the better of the two. I think, the lack of attacking options, the fact that we've lost Greenwood, Cavani, Mata, Lingard, who all can play on the right. I think the fact that we've lost 4 players that can all play on the right. We don't really have a right winger because Sancho's just become good on the left. I think, even if we do sign a right winger, I still think we need to keep with Amad Diallo or Facundo Pellistri, whoever Ten Hag would want to keep and play. I think one should go out on loan, the other we should keep, because we spent all this money on Amad and Pellistri and we're not trying them. And they've had moments where they look good. They're young players, there's players in there. There's people in the fan base writing off Amad Diallo and writing off Facundo Pellistri already. And I'm thinking, why are you writing them off? They're 19. They're not. I mean, Facundo Pellistri might be 20. Let me Google him. Facundo Pellistri. He might be 20, but Facundo Pellistri's 20 years of age. Amad Diallo, I believe, is only recently turned 19. I believe he was 18 when I last checked. Amad Diallo again, 19 years of age. Diallo is 19. Facundo Pellistri's 20. It's not like they're 22, 23, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're not that good. They're young. They're younger than a lot of players. They're younger than Greenwood. And he's counted as much youth. That I think one of them needs to be involved next season, and I will stick by that. I'd like to see it as well. And I think, whether it's Palestri, whether it's Amadiello, we have to wait and see. But I think Ten Hag will be able to use them. I think Ten Hag will get the best out of them. Look at all the young players that Ten Hag's brought through at Ajax and made them good players. Gravenberch and Timber are brilliant players, and they're 20. This is why I trust Ten Hag with Amadiello or Palestri to get the best out of them. We brought these right wingers. We spent money on another right winger and Sancho, who's ended up being a left winger. I like Antony. I have no issue with us getting Antony, but why spend money on another right winger? We've almost spent 200 million on players to be a right winger, and then we're just going to get Antony from Ajax. Why don't we neglect Antony from Ajax, buy Frenkie de Jong, buy a midfield partner for Frenkie de Jong, buy JURRIEN Timber, and instead of buying a right winger, give Ama Palestri, Garnacho, whoever needs a chance, the Shulatiri is a language on the right wing. And if that is a massive problem, invest in the right winger in January and actually make those funds for a striker or a young attacker. For me, it is De Jong, it is Timber, it's a player to partner De Jong, and then you move for an attacker, and then you move for maybe a Malacia at fullback. I do like Antony. I have no issue with us signing Antony, but I do think Palestri, he's been starting for Uruguay in front of Darwin Núñez. He's been brilliant, Palestri, for Uruguay. He starts every game. He's good for them. Amadiello has been decent. Garnacho's a brilliant player. Why spend more money on another right winger when we've got this youth? And people say you're lowering the standards, and I do hate it when people in the fan base say, "Oh, let's not buy a centre back. Let's give Mengi a chance," and all of that. But what I mean by youth is we spent so much money on right wingers over all these years. We need 2 midfielders. We need a centre back. I almost feel like we have Rashford that can play on the right. We have Sancho that can play on the right. We have Alanga that can play on the right. We have Palestri and Amma that can play on the right. And the amount of money we spent on the right-hand side and not solved the issue, that I am a little bit like, just give Palestri and Amma a chance. If they're not it, sort it out. I just think 2 midfielders and Timber, De Jong, Timber, and another midfielder to partner De Jong, I think need to be done before anything this window. And I think a lot of our players, I think, have got good potential. And again, one of the reasons I'm quite pro the youth at the moment is because I think Ten Hag's a manager with the ability to get the best out of them. It's also been said that Rashford feels ready to reset and refresh under Ten Hag, and Ten Hag plans to get the best out of Rashford. Gareth Southgate made a knobhead comment the other day. He said on Rashford and Sancho, they've got a lot to do to get back into the squad. We've only got Maguire with us. Maguire's been as crap as Rashford and Sancho. In fact, Maguire's been worse than Sancho. Sancho had some good moments. I know he's been injured, but why Southgate saying they've got lots to do? Okay, Rashford has a lot to do. Sancho, if he can find his form that he had a little bit at the end of the season, he's all right. I tell you this with Gareth Southgate: if Rashford and Sancho both find form, and Sancho still looks better than Rashford, he will still put Rashford over Sancho. He will. It's also been said by the Time that while Erik ten Hag will be given the funds to strengthen his squad, he's also said to believe in the potential of some of his underperforming players, and Rashford is one of them. I think Erik ten Hag could be the manager to potentially get the best out of Rashford as well. Daniel says Garnacho deserves a chance. Garnacho has been looking solid for the Argentinians under 20s. I know it's under 20s, but yeah. Will Frenkie de Jong come? Frenkie de Jong's likely to come, but you just don't know. We're taking our time. Frenkie de Jong is 80% coming. Like, he's given the green light to come. He wants to come now. He's accepted he's got to leave Barcelona. De Jong is now kind of open to joining Manchester United and all of that. But whether we'll get De Jong or not depends on whether United are going to put the money in or not. It's mad how slow we've been on Frenkie de Jong as well. MUFC MPB has tweeted that there will be big news tonight, and I'm hoping there will be big news tonight as well. It's also come out from the Mirror that Manchester United are hoping of signing Frenkie de Jong ahead of their pre-season tour to Asia and Australia, and Ten Hag is confident. The Mirror have just said now Ten Hag is very confident of getting de Jong in before pre-season tour, and a United source said as much as de Jong is a player the club and Ten Hag admire, they are not prepared to be Barcelona's financial bailout. So they're contradicting themselves. I think basically United are confident they're going to get de Jong. United believe they're going to get de Jong, but United are doing all these reports that they can't afford de Jong. They're looking at Neves. They don't want to be Barcelona's bailout because United don't want to pay 72 million for de Jong. United want to pay 62 million for de Jong. But United believe to be confident they can get de Jong done. We'll have to wait and see if he can get de Jong done. Ten Hag seems confident he can get it done. I think we will get de Jong done before pre-season. I don't think we'll go on. I just think if Man United go on pre-season, which is 2 weeks away, because we start pre-season training in 2 weeks. If in 2 weeks' time we return to training and there's not one player out the door and there's not one player in, that is an absolute disgrace. Ten Hag reportedly wanted his business done before pre-season so it doesn't affect the dressing room morale. If we don't sell one player or buy one player in the next 2 weeks, it's an absolute embarrassment and disgrace for the board. And I just don't think that we can let things get that bad for it to happen. I just think surely we're going to buy someone now. Surely we're going to sell someone now. I generally believe that Jong will be here in the next 2 weeks. I do. I'll be shocked. I think I have low expectations for the United board. I have low expectations in United. I see us in the transfer window. But if we're sitting here in 2 weeks when we go back to pre-season, I'm saying we've not sold one player. Wan-Bissaka's still here, Baye's still here, Dean Henderson's still here, and we've not brought one player. De Jong is at Barcelona. I'll be absolutely disgraced. I think it would be absolutely embarrassing. I don't know how the board could even really get on with that. I just think, something has to be done for pre-season. And maybe if we don't get De Jong, maybe we'll panic and get Timber. But it was reported that United want Timber and De Jong done within the next few days. The last day of international break for the Netherlands is tomorrow. And United want them, before they go on their break, their medical's done. And if that is the case for De Jong, if United want De Jong to do his medical before he goes on this 2-week break, then that means United have got to sign De Jong in the next 48 hours. So either, this report is true and United step up and sign De Jong in the next 48 hours, and there could be big news to come. And that's why I will say, do subscribe, because reports are saying we need this to be done in the next 48 hours to get his medical. So do subscribe, because if there are any breaking news updates on Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United, I will be live. If there's any major updates on De Jong to United, I will be live. Timber, De Jong, all the latest news, I will be live to let you guys know. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you do stay up to date with news and all that. We have got our pre-season fixtures in. I will be doing watch-alongs to all the pre-season games, but only 4 weeks away from pre-season, 4 weeks away from seeing us play Liverpool under Ten Hag, and hopefully not getting battered this time. But on the 12th of July, we'll play Liverpool. On the 15th of July, we'll play Melbourne City. On the 19th of July, we'll play Crystal Palace. On the 21st of July, we play Aston Villa. On the 30th of July, we play Atletico Madrid. And the day after, at Old Trafford, we will play Rayo Vallecano at home. The day after, so that definitely a rotated team. But they are the pre-season fixtures. And I will be doing a watch-along to every single pre-season game. And then I will be doing a match reaction and review to every single pre-season game. I'll be doing an analysis on Ten Hag, how he gets on. I'll be doing a watch-along on the game as well. So do make sure you are subscribed to the channel for watch-alongs, post-match reactions, because I know it's all transfer news at the moment and all of that, but obviously, I make my best content when football games are on, because when football games are on, I analyse games, I talk about games, I react to games, I do watch-alongs, we talk about lineups and all of that, and we can talk tactics, and we can criticise and we can compliment and all of that. And I think the content next month will definitely take a big jump. I know it's been a bit of a boring 3 weeks. It's United, it's De Jong this, De Jong that, but we'll be doing stuff for pre-season, so do subscribe if you're new as well. Matt judges at all. He is, Gaz. You are right. You are absolutely right. Every summer the board mess up. Yeah, honestly, I was hoping, Woodward's gone, Judge has gone. In my head, I'm saying, look, this could be a positive window. Woodward gone, Judge has gone, new manager, new backing, ambitious manager. Hopefully this is the window that's going to change. But I think, I'm not going to be honest with you. I won't judge the transfer window to August. I can judge the transfer window before August and say Ten Hag wanted his targets before August, before the season started, and he didn't deliver, and mark United down on it. But I won't judge our overall transfer window till after August. But I am sitting here almost expected to be disappointed. Wait until Ten Hag officially works with the team to find out what they can really do. Just get De Jong in before that. I think we need to get multiple players in. De Jong, whoever Ten Hag wants, get them in for pre-season and be prepared. Will you be concerned if United do not fulfill Ten Hag's wishes? I mean, United don't fulfill any manager's wishes. I mean, I would be concerned, but I wouldn't be surprised as well, if I'm going to be 100% honest as well. United must join A-League with this team. I mean, honestly, the United team is lacking. We are 6th place. We are not looking good. We need to hurry up and get some business done, because the state of our squad at the moment, I think, is absolutely embarrassing. Frenkie de Jong is decided he wants to come to Man United. I don't know why, because we look at the state of our squad, but we've managed to convince Frenkie de Jong to come to Manchester United. We've managed to do the hard bit, so now we've got the easy bit to do. We've got the easy bit to do, Man United. So what are you doing? Make a bid for de Jong, get it done. Get a partner for de Jong, get Timber. I know we've got players like Rashford and Bruno and Luke Shaw. If they find their form, they're good players. They can do a job. I know Ten Hag's got players he can improve, like Palestri, Garnacho, Ahmed coming through. I know we've got good players in the team, and a lot of our players underperformed. And if we can find form, we don't have that bad of a squad. But we came 6th. Our aim isn't to be a top 4 club. Okay, you sign 2 players, you become a top 4 club. Our aim is to build a team to become title contenders, title challengers. Build a team around Erik Ten Hag, Frenkie de Jong, build a team around Frenkie de Jong, get de Jong and build a team around Frenkie de Jong that Erik Ten Hag wants. So that in 3 years' time, we're genuine title contenders. We're getting past Champions League round of 16s. We're getting into the Champions League and out of the group stage. I don't want United to be this team that finishes 4th, then gets knocked out the round of 16 in the Champions League or even the group stage. I want United to be a team that is top 3 every season, pushing second and first, title contender every season, winning titles, and actually getting to Champions League semi-finals and finals and looking good in Europe. We haven't won a trophy in 5 seasons. We're Manchester United. Liverpool and City have both won trophies. Liverpool and City are the 2 best teams in the world right now. Liverpool and City have both brought in the biggest young up-and-coming strikers. Man United have done nothing. We're 6th. We've had our worst season ever. We've got a new manager coming into back, so we should be having a busy transfer window. We should be spending a lot of money, and we're not doing anything. And then we're saying, oh, but we expect Tonight to get the best out of Rashford. Cool, we probably can try. But you don't know what Rashford's going to show up next season. You don't know what Bruno's going to show up next season. Let's be prepared. So if the Rashford of last season shows up next season, we don't have to worry about it. Let's be prepared. So, if the Bruno of last season shows up this season, you've got Van der Beek or Eriksen. Let's be prepared that if Maguire's shit again, you've got a centre-back. Let's be prepared for Scott McTominay to be shit and get dominated in the midfield every game. And if Frenkie de Jong gets injured, you've got to play McFred or we're screwed. Let's remember, we were short on midfielders last season and we've lost 2 midfielders. So we were short on midfielders last season, we've lost Pogba and Matic. We are definitely short on midfielders this season. 1 midfielder is not good enough. We need 2. Yes, James Garner's back. You can say he's like a new signing. He needs a Premier League loan. Yes, Andreas Pereira's back. There's a reason we don't want Andreas Pereira at United. De Jong and another midfielder, send James Garner out on loan. No more faffing about, no more making excuses, because I'm fed up with it. And look, I think there is a chance that De Jong could happen in the next 48 hours. There is a chance. Because De Jong obviously is on the international break and Man United want his medical done before he goes on holiday. He goes on holiday in 2 days, Frenkie de Jong. So if United want to get that De Jong medical done, bish, bash, bosh, out the way, then maybe they need to make a move for Frenkie de Jong now so they can get that medical sorted and they don't have to worry about that, because otherwise his medical won't be sorted till after his holiday, and that delays De Jong being added to the team and De Jong being added to training. So I'm really, really hoping that we do something for De Jong. But Man United are expected to make a second bid for De Jong this week. Also, the Manchester United player we were linked to, Hugo Ekitike, is now being linked to Newcastle. I know we're interested in Hugo Ekitike. He got 10 goals this season. A very good young up-and-coming player. He's been linked to Newcastle. Newcastle seem to be in for Hugo Ekitike. Nunes is gone. Our first striker target's gone to Liverpool. Another striker target's gone to probably Newcastle. Who the fuck are we going to get, and what the hell are we doing? That's what it feels like. But Romano went on the United stand today with positive transfer news updates. So I'm trying my best to be positive. Romano did speak about Timber and said that Timber's between United and Ajax. If United and Ajax can sort something out. Romano did speak about De Jong. For me, De Jong, Timber, midfielder to partner De Jong and an attacker. And if any money left, we can get the players we need out and raise the funds, then get a fullback. And I hope we can get the players we want out because they're going to cause dressing room issues. If you've got players who we can't sell that don't want to be here, they're going to cause dressing room issues. They're going to cause unrest. Dressing room issues cost us far too much last season. We would need those egotistical arsehole players out. We only want players at Man United that want to be at the club, that want to play for Erik ten Hag, want to play under a new manager, want to be involved and will listen to his instructions. I do not want leakers. I do not want players that think they're too good to the new manager and will not listen to his instructions. I don't want players having a strop that they're not playing. If you're desperate for game time, Eric, cut your fucking wages. Yes, Maguire's been shit. Yes, you've been hard done by, but leave, cut your wages. Stop causing issues. There's a disrupt in the Manchester United dressing room. There's an unrest. Get those troublemakers out. Look at what Rangnick's doing at Austria. How quickly Rangnick got Austria to play the way he wanted to. How quickly Rangnick got Austria to press. Why couldn't Rangnick do that at United? Because the players weren't listening to him because they're spoiled. Those players are still there. Okay, Cavani's gone, Lingard's gone. They were causing some issues. Bailly's still there. Wan-Bissaka's still there. Other players that are causing issues that we might not know about are still there. So you don't just need to bring in players, but you need to get rid of them troublemakers because we got a lot of it. Big up Daniel saying Timber and De Jong hurry up and come exactly as well. Garner played well for Nottingham, I agree, but I think he would benefit more from a Premier League loan. But if we do not get 2 midfielders, we've got to keep him because I do not want McTominay anywhere near that lineup. We only signed Jadon Sancho for the Prem last season, which is very poor. Look, Jadon Sancho I think is good. I actually think Jadon Sancho is going to have a really good season next season. Renewing Bruno's contract is a new signing. Oh my God, I hope that's a sarcastic comment. I'm going to assume that's a sarcastic comment. I might keep Garner and play him as CDM in the Europa League. If we sign 2 midfielders, you sell Garner. If we sign 1 midfielder, you keep Garner. Because if De Jong gets injured, you're back to McFred and Bruno. And look, Ten Hag's a good manager, but he can't work miracles. Mukfred and Bruno is not a good midfield pairing, is it? Honestly, 250k a week is too much. I mean, look at some of the money some of the other players are on. I think Maguire's on that much. I think De Jong, that's how much De Jong's worth. But realistically, I think United should do a cap where we shouldn't be giving more than 200k a week on the wages, because if they flop, they're hard to sell. But yeah, could Sancho be captain? Unlikely. I've always said with United captaincy, you've got to strip Maguire of captaincy. He was a useless captain last season. I do not care if Maguire wants to be captain. I do not care if Maguire finds his form. He couldn't control that dressing room. Him being captaincy caused a lot of problems. Strip Maguire of captaincy. I will say that now. I think give Ronaldo captaincy next season, because Ronaldo's only here for one more season because he's going to be 38. Give Ronaldo captaincy for next season, because that gives Ten Hag a year to learn his squad and a year to learn the mentality of the squad. Ronaldo's captaincy for the next year. Once Ronaldo leaves, Ten Hag can use the permanent can then identify the permanent captain of his rebuild. That could be Frenkie de Jong. That could be Rafael Varane if he can stay fit. That could be Maguire if he has a good season. That could be JURRIEN Timber. That could be, who knows, Donny van de Beek, Bruno Fernandes. But for me, Ronaldo should be captain next season, because then that gives Ten Hag a year to decide the long-term captain. And Ronaldo is captain material. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't give Ronaldo captaincy. United are totally unprepared for this window again. I agree. United seem to be working on multiple deals in secret and private, but we've been faffing on the same player for 5 weeks. Change the structure of a board, change the manager, but United still haven't changed. They go into windows underprepared. Ten Hag has a plan. Ten Hag is prepared. Ten Hag has told Manchester United what he wants to do. Ten Hag has literally told Man United what he wants to do. He's told United who he wants to buy, who he wants to sell. United haven't delivered on it yet, and Ten Hag wants it done in 2 weeks. You think if we spent 5 weeks trying to sign Frenkie de Jong, all of a sudden in 2 weeks' time we're going to have Ten Hag's 4 targets here? Fuck off. One player will be here by pre-season, one max. If we get 2, I'll be shocked. We'll give away 50 quid if we have 2 players here in 2 weeks. What is the latest on Ibrahim Sangare? Not much. That United are keeping an eye on him. He's a player of interest, but he's not a priority target. It depends on his price. It depends on how much money we spend. It's a shame, because I think we should be getting De Jong, Sangare and Timber all done before pre-season. For me, if you get De Jong, Sangare and Timber in before pre-season, then on pre-season you work on a deal for maybe Antony and Kuku and attacker Scamacca. Cool. And then if you have any funds left in August, you could go last minute for a Malacia or a fullback. But, for me, Scamacca, we're not looking at him. But for me, De Jong, get that done. Timber and Sangare, I think, are easy deals to do that we can pay easy money for. They're not going to be stupidly pricey. Get them done for Ten Hag. Get 3 players in before pre-season so Ten Hag can work with them and have an advantage at the beginning of the season. Because we're already at disadvantage as it is, new manager, and we came 6th last season. And then I think, if we get those players in by mid-July, by pre-season, you've then got a month and a half to sell all the players you need to sell, and then spend the remaining of that budget on that attacker that we need. And then maybe whatever's left, you could go for a last-minute fullback. And then that's 5 signings in and hopefully 5 out, which is what we need. I think it's going to be more like 2 in, 3 out, because we're useless in the transfer market. Been told United are looking at Matheus Nunes to partner De Jong in midfield. Not heard much about it, but I've seen that as well, Nick. So if there's any updates on that, I will do a video on that again, but not seen much on it yet. It might just be a name that's been thrown about as a bit of a distraction or a PR spin. I knew Rangnick would do well with Austria because he has the players who want to learn in front of them exactly. And Man United remind me of England back in the day. So England, when I was a young kid growing up, we had, Wayne Rooney, John Terry, Ashley Cole, Gerrard, Scholes, Lampard, Carrick, Rio Ferdinand, Beckham. We had all these names at England. We had all these names at England growing up. And we were always shit in tournaments. And it's because you had all these good names, but they all big egos. They all thought they were the king of the castle. They all, they didn't want to listen to the manager. They didn't want to listen to each other. They didn't want to play together. They all thought they were the best. They all had that big ego. And I think that was United last season. We were kind of like the OG England. We underperformed because we had too many big names, too many individual stars with too big egos that had personality problems. We built a team that couldn't play together. We built a team of moments that couldn't play together. But we also had a team of egos that didn't want to play together. The England team we have now under Southgate it's got a shit manager in Southgate. It isn't as good as the England team he had 15 years ago, but does a lot better because they all want to play for England and they all get on and they all play with each other. The England squad back in the day that underperformed all those World Cups with Rooney, Rio, Gerrard, Lampard. One of the reasons they all underperformed was because 1, they didn't want to be there. 2, they didn't like each other. 3, they had ego problems, and I think that reminds me a little bit of Manchester United. It really does, and how Man United are acting. These Man United players are acting. You need to sort it out as well. I want 256 likes, guys. Let's push for 300 likes. We always go for 300 likes on videos. So if you've not hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. And Cuckoo wants PSG signing in would be a big mistake. He'll be gone in 1 season or 2 the minute PSG come in. Apparently, Cuckoo does want PSG, but then Di Marzio did say Cuckoo would like a Premier League loan. Di Marzio is, a good source of information. The problem is those players refuse to learn from managers because they think they're good enough or good enough. Yeah, honestly, these players think they're world class when actually they're just bang average as well. But the back in the day, England reminds me of United. I mean, everyone's been terrible with England, to be fair, as well. We have a bunch of losers who think they're entitled and special on the pitch are garbage. And hopefully we get rid of the bigger problem makers this summer. And hopefully some of the players who were maybe causing problems that will stay will change their attitude and buy into Ten Hag's philosophy, listen to Ten Hag and actively want to work and play under Eric Ten Hag because he's a fantastic manager with fantastic ideas and all of that. But listen, guys, I am going to wrap up the live stream. I'm going to end the live stream here. I will be back tomorrow with a video in the morning and a live stream in the evening. So do make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football with that post notification bell on, because I generally am getting indications that Jong could be done this week. Now, I've been, we've been saying that for a while, but we are the 13th of June. United normally get their first signing done by now. Something has to happen this week. Something has to happen this week. Like, it just has to. United cannot keep going on like this. Something has to happen. We'll return to training in 2 weeks, and I think something will happen this week, especially with the international break being over in 2 days. All the players will then go on international duty, and United want those medicals done before. So I think something could happen in the next 48 hours. I think something has to happen this week. So I will say do subscribe, because if there's any breaking news stories, if a deal is done, if we can finally get something done, I will be live to let you guys know. I will do a video to keep you guys updated. So if you do want to stay up to date on all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, do subscribe. When pre-season starts, watch alongs, match reactions, match previews as well. Thank you for tuning in. Smash a like, smash the subscribe. Big up everyone. See you next time.